You have undoubtedly heard someone in your life espouse the benefits of an open ended question. Perhaps you have multiple real life experiences where you've asked an open ended question and all of a sudden you find yourself in this amazing conversation. I've often talked about the power of an open ended question, so if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know that I'm a big proponent of these things. Um, Harvard Business School has like reams and reams of data on the power of questions, period. But they go deep into the difference between an open ended and closed ended question and how each one impacts the longevity of the relationships you build inside and outside of the sales world. And so, one specific example is they asked 1,300 parents, what's the most important lesson you can give to your children? They gave the 1,300 parents five options. 60% of them chose to think for themselves. That was the option that they thought was most important lesson they can give to their children. They asked a different group of 1,300 parents, so same numbers of people. They asked them that same exact question, although they didn't give them any parameters. They didn't give them a multiple choice. And they got hundreds of different answers. What's the most important thing that you can teach your children? And so what happened was two things. One was not only did they share multiple different options, they talked about how that specific thing has impacted their life, that particular lesson, and where they learned that lesson, how they learned that lesson. And if you think about that from a sales perspective, we don't want to give people a few choices to consider. We want people to tell us things that create that connection, that create that ability for them to elaborate about the things that are closest to their heart and the things that mean the most to them. And so the thought that I ask you all to take with you as you find yourselves building relationships inside your business and outside of your business is this power of the open-ended question is almost endless, in particular if it's asked the right way. So here's an example. So, and it should sound like this is the first time you've asked this question. If it sounds like it's a button-up prepared question, there will be less opportunity for this elaboration, for these people sharing these things that are intimate to them and important to them. So, hey, let me ask you this. I never asked you, how actually did you get into this industry? And like the first 5 years, how did you get from like, creating a business to establishing a business and to growing a business? Now, that type of question creates excitement for someone because they're further down their career, they're further down their path, and they'd love to share that. They're going to share the intimate details of how difficult it was and how challenging it was and who helped them get there. And when you're learning those things, you are learning critical components of getting the relationship built and critical components of how to do business with that particular person. Good selling, everyone.